Thank you for downloading this in-ear entertainment podcast. You're listening to Shakespeare's Sonnets. Sonnet 53. What is your substance? Whereof are you made, that millions of strange shadows on you tend? Since every one hath, every one shade, but you but one can every shadow lend. Describe Adonis, and the counterfeit is poorly imitated after you. On Helen's cheek all art of beauty set, and you in Grecian tires are painted new. Speak of the spring and foison of the year, the one doth shadow of your beauty show, the other as your beauty doth appear, and you in every blessed shape we know. In all external grace you have some part, but you, like none you for constant heart. Damn it, those last two words.
It's also a consenting heart, hopefully.
It is also, yes, that's what Shakespeare meant. That was Sonnet 53. I'm trying to say my F's. 53 of Shakespeare's sonnets. I'm Mark Chesley, and I am joined by the very European-looking
Thierry Hillis. I'm still not sure what European-looking actually means.
European-looking for a male is quite gaunt in the face, but with swooshy hair and quite pale. And a beard. You have to have a beard to be European-looking.
You have a beard.
I do, but I'm not European-looking. If anything, I'm mildly Middle Eastern-looking. It's quite bizarre.
That's... wow.
Did you not think...
Mark Al-Chatali.
Yeah, it's good. I like my cool looks. So this was Sonnet 53. Sonnet 53, we're back to loving the fair youth, or Shakespeare's back to loving the fair youth. And this is another one of the sonnets that seems very much in the vein of the very early sonnets, which is comparing the fair youth to beauty and essentially saying that beauty itself is a pale imitation of the fair youth. And so in this we have describe Adonis, and the counterfeit is poorly imitated after you. So someone describing Adonis, who's meant to be the perfection of male sort of physique and beauty. If you try and describe that, you're actually describing the fair youth, but in a very bad way, because the fair youth is so much greater. And that kind of attitude is repeated through this sonnet as you can describe whatever type of beauty you want, but you're only describing a mere silhouette, a shadow of the fair youth.
Which again has the idea that we've had a few times, the Platonic Cave, with people tied to a chair and they can only see the shadows of the real world, rather than what real beauty lies outside.
Yes. So because the shadows come up in this again.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're allowed to cough. You are but human.
Am I?
You are but human. Just but human. Yes, the shadows come into this again at the beginning. That millions of strange shadows on you tend, since everyone hath everyone one shade. There's lots of repetition in this one as well. And the shadow bit, until you mentioned the shadow cave idea back when we originally did it, which was around about Sonnet 30-something, I believe. I'd never heard of it, and it seems to make all of these sonnets sort of fall into place.
It's a very, very... well, I guess it was more common in Shakespeare's times, but in philosophy it's a very important concept overall. And that just kept... well, it kept popping up. You have Platonic metaphysics, Neoplatonic metaphysics. It's just an idea that even during Shakespeare's time would have been quite common.
And it's a nice idea that the fact that you can be chained down and kept in the dark, and what you see, you feel and think, because it's all you've ever experienced, is the world. But it's not. It's just a shadow of the world and a silhouette of the world, I guess. And it's quite a interesting idea. And I suppose that's quite a good description of love, that until you meet the person you love, the world is that is quite cliched now, but the world is dull. And then you meet your love, and you suddenly see the world for what it is. You become complete, and colours are brighter, and emotions are
pigs
stronger.
can fly, and
pigs can fly. You can tell which one's the cynical one out of us two. Oh, no one loves Thierry.
I'm not. Cynical is the way to deal with life.
If you say so. So yeah, so that the shadows are in this. Adonis is in this. Helen's cheek. Helen being goddess.
Well, not the goddess. The wife of Mel something. The woman who ran away with Paris to Troy and started the war.
Women.
Menelaus, I think it was Menelaus, something like that.
You know
her husband.
Lots. You know lots and lots of stuff.
I had to do the whole. Well, I did the Greek part of history in school, and I had to read Ulysses in university. And
or I'm trying to think back what we did in Greek in school.
Was it Ulysses? No, the Odyssey. That's the one. We
did the Trojan horse in school. That's pretty much about all we covered with in Greek history.
Wow. No, I had to do oh God. I had an entire year in school just dedicated to Greek history.
Wow. I suppose that's quite deep.
Well, there was a lot. I mean, they came up with the idea of democracy.
They did. They were very good.
Not as we know it. It was still very much plutocratic, but yeah.
They're a very clever bunch, and you're a very clever man for knowing all about it. And just, I'm a little bit dim for not. But
it just means that we went through different school systems. I'm sure if you read up on it.
Yeah, I'd know all about it. I could be a scholar. It'd be brilliant. But I choose not to, because I choose to spend my time watching TV and stuff like that.
There are more. Well, historians are probably going to beat me up now, but there are more interesting topics than Greek history. There's a lot of war and
War tends to make things good fun.
Yeah, but not if you read about them. And well, we don't. Those sort of wars we tend to treat as in that city attacked that city and so many people died and that's it, and that had this political effect.
I remember learning about the tanks with the shields and the archers and stuff like that. So that was cool to learn when I was a kid. I used to like learning stuff like that, but we didn't really know a lot. And any sort of mythology I had to learn myself through watching like Jason and the Argonauts and things like that.
See, I also had that because I did Latin. There's a lot of mythology because the many texts that you have to translate early on before you can read Caesar and all those sort of great poets and authors are just mythology, just short stories about mythology.
Blimey. I suppose that makes sense, and a lot of Shakespeare's work is based on those myths as well, which is quite interesting. And let's go back.
That was a weird tangent.
It was nobody. I mean, it was spurred off from the sonnet, so it's a good, valid tangent. That's fine. And I'm making noises with my radiator. I'm sorry. It's slightly cold here. I quite like the comparisons going on, especially to speaking of spring and the beauty of the year, and even spring is lesser than the beauty of the fair youth, which is a really nice, slightly over the top comparison. And I just think we're back to Shakespeare being in love again, and I think he does that very well. Although I feel he does the being angry sonnets slightly better than the being in love ones, but we're definitely back.
The angry sonnets tend to have better ideas. Well, I suppose when he wrote these, the ideas would have been fairly new still. It's just this is 400 years old. We've read these ideas so many times. It just doesn't feel as good anymore as it would have been in 1609 when he published them.
Yeah, yes. What appears cliche to us wouldn't have been cliche then. I've come back last week. I went away and saw Hamlet in Stratford by the RSC, and it's very interesting to watch that because some of the larger soliloquies in it, to us, are just cliche after cliche after cliche all the way through. But at the time, they would have been quite amazing strings of words, just phrases you've never heard of, and it's just very bizarre looking back on it that so much of what Shakespeare has done has come into common usage and has become cliched, and now we look on these sonnets and go, well, that's a very cliched description of love, but it wouldn't have been. And I think that's the mindset you've got to get into when you start appreciating some of these. Is that
Well, he defined a lot of the. Well, he created a lot of phrasings and expressions that we use today. So, well, yeah, they are cliched in the sense that he's the origin of that idea.
which is it's really strange. Is a very strange thing, and not something I think you as a creator could ever predict, that something you create will become commonplace. I guess
How could you? I mean,
it's something I think everyone would love, but I don't think you can not predict what's going to be taken forward and what isn't, because for every cliche that's in Shakespeare's works now, there's hundreds of lines of dialogue which aren't cliched. So you can never know, I think, and I find that quite fascinating. We've only kind of talked. Do you see any other reading in this sonnet at all?
I kind of like the idea that nature almost hands over its beauty to the fair youth as well. He's not just more beautiful; he also gets what, because it was line whatever that is, 9. Speak of the spring and foison of the year, the one doth shadow of your beauty show, and then he says, the other as your bounty doth appear.
Yeah.
So basically, the harvest is not just more plentiful and more whatever than the beautiful youth. It's specifically there for the youth.
Oh, I like that. So spring is beauteous not because it is full of beauty, but it's beauteous because the fair youth essentially makes it so. The fair youth is so beautiful that
he is the cause, and yeah.
And a lot of these sonnets, when it's talking about this kind of level of beauty, it does suggest that he is the definition of beauty, and that anything else is a watering down of or a shadow of him. So in that sense, you could see him as like the source of beauty, which I guess would be almost blasphemous in a way.
Well, as far as I can remember, he's never actually mentioned God in the sonnet so far.
Not the Christian God. Oh, he
which,
mentioned doves and things like that, but yeah, not.
But not. He didn't refer to Jove or whatever they called him at the time.
Yeah, no, nothing explicit.
So the fair youth could just be the I don't know, the perfect creation of God.
Yeah, that's interesting, and that
he never actually says that he's better than
anyone else or anything else.
Than a god. I'm not even sure if he ever calls him a deity.
No, and
he doesn't ever go that far.
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, he's comparing him to various mythological beauties, and
yeah, but he wouldn't have that. That would have been mythology
back then.
That wouldn't be that he wouldn't have considered them as gods that he prayed to.
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. So it does stop short of being
just short of, yeah.
Which is I suppose a very fine line to tread.
Well, he would have had to, and pretty sure the Elizabethan times were still very much religious.
Don't want to annoy the church. It's not a good thing to do.
You can do today. That's fine.
Yes,
but and still, depending on what part of the world you live in, you might not want to. But
yeah, it's not good in certain countries, and even some certain European countries. It's not good to do it in, but mainly in most Western cultures, it's not too bad. Although saying that, I mean, saying you're an atheist is a kind of dirty word in America. That's quite a interesting world we live in. But let's stop that rant before we go too far down that road. I think it's probably a good idea. I like this sonnet. I do. It's one of the nice beauty ones again. But in terms of depth, there's not a lot to it other than the fair youth is beautiful, and he's more beautiful than everything else. Everything else is a shadow of him, and in the sense that I suppose he radiates these shadows out. You're right. He brings beauty. The shadow of his beauty is somehow infectious. It adds more beauty to you. I suppose is an idea that's going on here. But deeper than that, there's not a lot. It's a sort of sycophantic love sonnet.
I actually the last line, reading that, but you like none. I'm already screwing it up. But you like none you for constant heart. The constant heart isn't really. Who is he trying to fool himself there? Because it hasn't always been the constant heart. There have been
blips.
They have been angry at each other, and there was the whole. I can't remember the numbers now, where he accused the fair youth, and because the fair youth slept with a girl, and
yes. So yeah, in all external grace you have some part, but you like none you for constant heart. I think what that's saying. Yeah, in all external grace, so in every piece of beauty you can be seen. So if anyone else is beautiful, it's a reflection of you. It's for constant heart. It is kind of suggesting he has a constant heart. Maybe it's an admission from Shakespeare that he got angry at the fair youth, but maybe the fair youth didn't get angry back. The fair youth has always been the same. He has this constant heart.
Yeah, but the fair youth is also the one who betrayed Shakespeare.
But maybe
the betrayer usually doesn't get angry.
Yeah, maybe the betrayer in this case doesn't even realise he betrayed. I mean, he did essentially do what Shakespeare told him to, which was go out and sleep with women.
It's just, yeah.
No,
yeah.
But there was
that
no.
makes
I
sense.
don't remember in those sonnets it saying go sleep with a woman except for this one. It's yeah. So maybe that's an admission from Shakespeare.
That should be the tagline for the podcast. Wow, that's
true,
deep.
and always done what he had always done, and it's Shakespeare's fault that he sees these faults in the fair youth, if that makes sense. The fair youth is so beautiful that any faults in the fair youth are actually your faults projected.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wow, that's deep. Okay, this sonnet got a bit deeper. Okay, yeah.
That should be the tagline for the podcast. Wow, that's deep.
That's deep. It's one of my incredibly witty, intelligent one-liners. Is wow, Shakespeare's good. I like. Yeah. I do sound a bit like a stoner, and I promise people I'm not stoned at the moment. Although I do have a collection of painkillers in front of me, which are very nice. But I can't take them.
Yeah, but you have a prescription for that. It's not like you bought tramadol on the street corner from a weird looking fella.
Oh, that would be amazing. I love the idea that this is completely unrelated to the sonnet, but I just love the idea that you can get drugs that are like manufactured by pharmaceutical companies and then sold on the black market. It's not like pot that someone's grown in their garden, or heroin which has been smuggled into the country. It's a proper pharmaceutical box that probably has a prescription label on it with someone's name scribbled off. I just love the fact there's a black market in that.
They're probably. I mean, prescription drugs are heavily regulated.
Yes.
I mean, most of the drugs that you can buy here, you would never ever just get without a prescription back in Luxembourg. Britain is incredibly liberal for drugs. There's the whole idea of that Boots almost as a supermarket for drugs is almost insane. So if you are in the foreign, especially America, where the FDA is fairly stringent on allowing certain drugs, and their guidelines might be a bit screwed up, considering, depending on your point of view, but they are very, very, very strict.
Yeah,
and I could easily see that there's a black market for
painkillers
for certain, yeah,
and especially because the price would be different as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. On that little complete side note about drugs, I shall let Thierry read us out for Sonnet 53.
Brought to you by Tramadol.
Yeah, 50.
We should just email Tramadol and see if they want to sponsor us.
Oh, we could just do the sonnets on Tramadol for the rest of the. Hello. I like this sonnet. Why do you like this sonnet? It's funny.
I'm in a cave.
No, I'm in, and there are shadows. I don't like it. I'm going to sleep. Hey, let's you read the sonnet. You have to read the sonnet. Be a good Thierry.
Oh, that's creepy. Sonnet 53. What is your substance? Whereof are you made, that millions of strange shadows on you tend? Since every one hath, every one shade, and you but one can every shadow lend. Describe Adonis, and the counterfeit is poorly imitated after you. On Helen's cheek all art of beauty set, and you in Grecian tires are painted new. Speak of the spring, and foison of the year, the one doth shadow of your beauty show, the other as your bounty doth appear, and you in every blessed shape we know. In all external grace you have some parts, but you like none you, for constant heart.
Very good. That was Sonnet 53 of Shakespeare's sonnets. I've been Mark Chesley, and you can follow me on Twitter at Nufkin.
I've been Thierry Hillis, and you can follow me on Twitter at Sound of Seagulls.
Oh, and we have a new thing. You can.
Oh yes, we do.
Do you want to do that? You can do that because you're cleverer.
I'm not. There's not much to say. We, if you have a Flutter account, we've now included buttons on our website, so you can Flutter this podcast, and also Supermarket Matters if you like that one. And if you don't have a Flutter account, you should get one because it allows you to give money to creators without overspending your money. Because you can basically set one monthly limit, say £5, and no matter how many buttons you click, that just those £5 get spread out amongst the creators evenly.
It's such a clever idea. I was very impressed when I actually, because we've had people telling us to go on it for a while, and I finally looked into it this week. I'm incredibly impressed with the system and how it works and how well it's been taken up by podcasters. So it's very cool. You should definitely get on Flutter.
It's been created by one of the Pirate Party guys,
Yes.
Pirate Bay guys, Peter Sunder, I think it was. It's one of the guys.
It's very, very, very clever. Anyway, you should go check it out. But we will see you again next time for Sonnet 54, which is slightly easier to say. See you later.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Shakespeare Sonnets with Mark Chatterley and Thierry Hillis. This has been an In-Ear Entertainment podcast. To listen to other podcasts or find out more about In-Ear Entertainment, go to www.inearentertainment.com.